Hello Mustangs, welcome back to Mustang News. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Piper.
For this week's episode, we're going to start off by sharing some helpful tips on staying healthy during the break.
Our weekly weather and a recap on all our sports this semester.
To conclude our episode, we're going to see some photos from Fine Arts Night.
Meet our interpreters at O'Henry and watch our Mustang News challenge for the week.
Do you want to stay healthy during this break?
Here's some healthy tips.
Hello, I'm Rory, and I'm here to tell you how to stay healthy over the break. You could run or walk around the track or just outside. You could bike or do other physical activities that are more focused on equipment or items. And I would suggest that you try to get 30 minutes or more of outside time a day. Preferably exercise like walking or running around the neighborhood.
Now,
The weather.
Good morning, O'Henry. I hope you're having the wonderful last day till winter break. But for today, we are going to have a high of 81 and a low of 63. And as we continue in throughout the week, we are seeing a cold front come in on Saturday. And it's going to bring rain chances up to pretty much 100%. And throughout the week, decreased temperatures will go up to the 50s and 60s. But towards the end of next week, we will have temperatures in the 60s and 70s as well. Sadly, I cannot give you the entire forecast for winter break because my resource does not go all the way till January. And even if I were to try and predict what's going to happen, it's most likely going to be wrong. But I will try to give my best and predict what will happen. We will see temperatures in the 60s and 70s around the average, and we may see some 80s again after Christmas. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, but the most important thing is that I like weather.
Let's get a recap.
on the first semester of sports.
We be Grizzlies!
Let's look in on our fine arts fair.
What was it like preparing for your performance?
It was kind of nerve-wracking.
It was really nerve-wracking.
I didn't know we were actually going to perform it until like a few days before.
Yeah, because we started practicing the dance and we learned it a really long time ago. And then we learned another one, and then we didn't know we were performing it until
And
And it was a lot of hard work.
3 days later.
how did the performance go?
It was good. Right when it got to the stage. Other than that, it was
All the
great.
nerves. Awesome. Once you get on stage, all the nerves just go away.
Yeah, it's actually like really
Yeah, so inspirational. I love it.
It's amazing.
No.
What is the best part about dance class?
I think it's
you
really
get to
fun because
perform.
it's basically like a really long brain break, you know?
Yeah.
And you get to like move, and you don't have to work out, but you also just get to move your body and like, get to listen to music a lot.
And there's a bunch of friends.
Yeah,
you can just
the friends
hang out
that
with
come
your
with
friends.
this.
Yeah.
It looks like you have to work together a lot on your dances.
Yeah.
Is synchronizing a hard part of it?
Yeah.
Especially because all of us have different dance backgrounds too, so like all
Yeah.
of us are at different like levels, and so picking something that like works for all of us and makes all of us kind of look good is really
Awesome.
important.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
Doing dance next year.
We have a large deaf and hard of hearing community at O'Henry.
Let's meet some of our interpreters.
According to the dictionary, an interpreter is someone who interprets, especially one who translates speech orally, but in this case, it's through sign language. I interviewed one of our very own interpreters at O'Henry Middle School.
How many DHH students are there?
At O'Henry, there's 3 here.
How many interpreters are there?
We have 3 interpreters as well.
Do you have to go to extra school in college to become an interpreter?
There's a variety of ways to become an interpreter. You can have your degree for your degree, or you could, like I went to school for 2 years to get my associate's degree in interpreting. But there's a variety of ways. You have to test with the state to become certified. I would just say that the golden rule, just treat others as you would want to be treated, be kind and respect each other.
Did you want to be an interpreter when you were a kid?
I had no idea about that when I was a kid. When I was, 27 or something like that, a hard of hearing boy came to church where my parents were going to church and I wasn't there. I had just recently been married, you know, and then my husband was in the Air Force, and they said, go to Korea, no wives. So I went home to mama, you know. And they had this hard-haired boy, and he explained that they need interpreters. So my dad started learning, and they brought a deaf preacher, and I thought, I could learn that. Yeah. So as soon as when my husband got out, we went and found a deaf church, and ever since then we were going to church with deaf people and watching the interpreters and just learning. I said, oh, I'll start as a substitute teacher. And after a while I said, you know, they may have deaf kids in the school here. So I told the substitute office, and they started hiring me to substitute for the teachers for the deaf kids and like that. I never expected to do it for a regular job, but it just happened that way. And then I needed to learn signing exact English because Austin ISD uses that.
Do you know if interpreting is a degree?
There are colleges that offer interpreting degrees, but really you have to have a certification, take a test and see, can you interpret well enough?
What does a normal day look like as an interpreter?
Well, here at school, you go with a deaf student to classes. Whatever anyone, you know, the teacher says, the students around say, anything you hear, you interpret that. If the deaf student does not talk for themselves, then when they sign, you voice what they signed. And you just go to different classes all day, sometimes with the same student all the time, sometimes with one student in this class and then another student in another class. It varies.
I hope you know a little bit more about our deaf and hard of hearing community at O'Henry.
A lot of kids love winter break. But what's the worst part? What is your least favorite part about winter break?
My least favorite part about winter break is that, like, when we're at winter break, when we're in winter break, there's like nothing to do. But when we're in school, there gives us something to do all day. So yeah.
I had to say, definitely like it being cold outside. So I like to go outside and do like a lot of activities with my friends. So.
My least favorite part is probably that it don't last forever.
My least favorite part about winter break is the last day of it.
My least favorite part about winter break is that it doesn't last forever.
My least favorite part about winter break is probably the last day of it because we have to go back to school.
My least favorite part of winter break is probably not being able to see my friends every day.
Winter homework.
Hey Mustangs, my favorite thing to do over the break is watch lots of movies. It's always Elf on Christmas Eve with deli night and tamales. Then I usually go on a really long hike during that time.
These are the 8th graders dissecting a sheep heart.
Okay, it's right
there.
I know.
Observe the string-like fibers that anchors the valve of the heart. These fibers are made of muscle.
There's like a ton over here.
Yeah, and then there's some in that little cavity right here.
Within the inner wall of the right ventricle, locate the opening of the pulmonary trunk. It receives deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle as it makes the way towards the lungs.
Pretty sure it's that one.
The pulmonary trunk splits into the left and right pulmonary arteries, taking the blood to each other of the right and left lungs.
Cool, okay.
So we just don't do anything.
Oh, that's this thing.
Some 8th graders took a break from the strong scent of formaldehyde.
Now, let's meet a teacher.
So this is my 24th year teaching at O'Henry. I teach physical education and athletic classes. You know, I think the biggest thing is you have to work hard in life. I think we get caught up in everything, the drama of everything that's going on in the world, where you're expecting, you just want everything given to you. real world just doesn't work that way. The people that work the hardest are usually the most successful.
Make it a great day to be an O. Henry Mustang.